All right, welcome to the conclusion for the week. In this, we're going to we're going to zoom out from a focus on technology and a focus on the actual outcomes with regard to sleep, and zoom out to American society. So we'll talk about American culture and sleep, American norms, particularly economic norms, which means norms related to work and sleep. You can see this is going to just be horrible. We're going to talk about consumerism and sleep, and then we will conclude with me ranting about the fact that you got to ignore all of that stuff because none of it is going to be good for you. Okay, so let's talk about this. The culture of America can this is a little bit of an oversimplification. With regard to sleep, the aspects of American culture I want to focus on are capitalism and rationalization. Capitalism is an economic system, but it affects our ideas about how we should live our lives. And we should live our lives by pursuing money. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but it has consequences. I mean, already if you start thinking about that in terms of sleep, what you can think about is your parents and them staying up late to finish work projects, or waking up too early, or pulling all-nighters, none of which is reasonable at all if you step outside of the logic of capitalism. So capitalism is a crucial part of American culture. Rationalization just meaning the pursuit of efficiency, elevating efficiency to being the highest value. From that perspective, if you take those two prongs of American culture, sleep is inefficient. There was one of the social media companies, I want to say it was Twitter, but I'm not 100%. No, it was I think Netflix, so not a social media company, my fault. One of their taglines, I think this was for an internal part of their corporate culture, was "Our competitors sleep," which is psychotic, right? I mean, sleep, as we're going to get to, and as we've talked about, is a need. But you can see the logic from the perspective of capitalism and rationalization. Sleep, when you are sleeping, you are not producing, which means if you can reduce your ability to sleep, you can outcompete somebody else. Another way of talking about sleep is a luxury. I'll sleep when I die, which is, again, you'll die if you don't sleep. But it's a sort of quintessentially American individual idea that the laws of biology don't apply to me if I try hard enough, if I just focus hard enough, then I don't have to worry about these things. This is nuts. I mean, yes, it's normal, but it's important for you to, well, we talked about normal in our last video. Normal is sleep deficient insanity. American culture, it's no wonder that as a part of American culture, we are on our phones at night. We are waking up early to an alarm set on our phone. None of this is based around the biological need for us, and we talked about the biological need for our neurology to be processing things overnight. So American culture has a psychotic perspective on sleep. The structure of American norms and sleep is increasingly for you to be, you'll see, if you haven't seen this already, you'll see this when you get a job, depending on the type of job you get. But there's an expectation that since you have a cell phone, that you will be available at all hours, that you will be receiving texts or emails, and you'll be expected to check that all through, at least until you go to sleep, which means if you're not going to sleep until 11 or midnight and you are getting pinged from your boss or from a coworker, that's not healthy. Again, if you think about the fact that this is a biological imperative, these norms that are increasingly encroaching on your private life and particularly the aspect of your life that involves sleep, this is super, super unhealthy. Sleep is being viewed in the American economy as a barrier to productivity, which makes sense from a capitalist perspective, but is insane from a biological necessity perspective. Don't buy what American society is telling you with regard to this. American society, none of this stuff is set up for your happiness or your fulfillment. This is set up to make you a cog in a machine that generates profit. Capitalism is good in the sense that it provides us with incredible things at relatively low prices. But to have capitalism take over our culture, to take over our biological needs and define our biological needs in this way is completely inappropriate. You can subscribe to capitalism, but also say, but I'm going to draw some lines here. I'm going to think about what is the life that I would want to have. So that takes care of these first two. Sorry, this is the way the week ends. Third, consumerism. So sleep is defined as a problem that can be solved by purchasing things. You purchase the right bed, you purchase the right pillow, you purchase the right noise canceling headphones or speakers, you purchase the right app with the right nature sounds, and that's how you solve the problem. That's not how you solve the problem. We've seen how you solve the problem already. So don't get roped into this. Again, this whole consumerism solution is a way of allowing this to stay in place and ruling your life, and then it's like a Band-Aid on top of it. You don't need the Band-Aid. You need the complete holistic fix to this. God, sorry, I'm on a rant, but we're flying, so I guess that's good. All right, the conclusion of the week. Sleep is a fundamental need. It's not something that, it's not a luxury. It's not something that you fit in. It should be a building block for everything else, because as we talked about, your physical and your mental health depend on it. They aren't associated with it. They depend on it. To the extent that you're not taking care of this fundamental building block of your physical and mental health, it is not possible to have a happy and fulfilling life. You cannot be sleep deficient and have that. So if you want that, this is something that has to be taken care of. Sleep deprivation is used as torture. It's been used as torture by the American government. It's certainly been used as torture by other governments as well. The fact that you are being told to torture yourself suggests you were born into a cult. It is a cult based not only on negative things. Again, capitalism provides us with a lot of great things, but any religion taken too far becomes a cult. And you don't have to give in to that. Sleep is a necessary precursor to a fulfilling life, which means this is the last thought that I want to leave you with. And you should be doing this all throughout the semester. Write about what would a fulfilling life be for you? And not a fulfilling life, and not only from a macro level, like I would want to have this career and I would want to be able to travel here and live here. Think about what it would look like on a day-to-day basis. What time would you wake up? What time would you go to sleep? What would you do in between? How would you make sure, what would your sleep, what would that part of your life be like? What would the experience of sleep and the experience of waking up be like if you, as I'm sure you have, woken up and not been ready for the day and needed to caffeinate yourself? Is that a part of a fulfilling life for you? If it is, it's not my place to judge. But you want to think about that. You want to have in your mind, what is a fulfilling life for you? How would you meet this need? What would that look like? Um, Give thought to how you would want your daily life to be, particularly starting at dusk, which is when hunter-gatherers went to their fires and were up for another 3 hours. Again, I'm not saying that is the solution. I'm saying thinking this stuff through, because American society does not care about you having a fulfilling life. The only person who's going to figure that out, who's going to really look out for that, is you and the people that you can talk to about thinking from this perspective. Okay, that's it for week 2. I will see you next week in week 3, and we'll deal with a whole other set of technologies.